Hello everyone, welcome back. We're here on CM42 TV and today's video is going to be about my Blu-ray collection, some movie chat once again here on CM42 TV. I'm pretty happy about that. It's something that I'm drastically missing here on the channel, some frequent and weekly movie chat. I try to post a lot of videos every week and it's always like reactions and try not to laughs and all those things, which I love, but I do miss chatting films and the movie pictures on the channel, and that is why I've brought back my podcast, my movie podcast, that is The Good Bit. I'm going to be posting the episodes on release day here on the channel, as well as all podcast providers, major podcast providers anyway. So if you enjoy my channel and you enjoy me and my opinions and my voice, and if you like movies, then you can check out The Good Bit podcast right here on CM42 TV, or you can subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts. And today's video, I do want to keep having, some movie chat on the channel, that's not just the podcast. I just thought it would be fun. This is a video I think I've been doing for a while. Look at the Blu-rays that I have in my collection. Now, as you know, I don't have the biggest movie collection. My rule is, I talk about it all the time, I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but just in case you're new, my rule is that I'll only buy movies in my collection if they are A, in Poundland and I want to see them, so they're only costing £1 or £2, or B, if it's a film that I have seen and that I love, or at least really like, that I would recommend to people, that I'm happy to display and have in the collection. Those are the ones I want to have. So my collection is just an array of my favourite films and cheap films from Poundland, and then I will watch those films, and then if I love them, they can stay. If not, I'll give them to charity or something, So because of that, I don't have all these, massive shelves and that sort of thing, and walls filled with movies. It's not as if I've got loads that I haven't seen. No, there's a good bunch that I haven't seen, maybe about 30 odd movies that I've not seen out of my collection, which is about 150 strong, I guess. Maybe a bit more than that, maybe about 50 that I've not seen before. But there's been lots of films that I have seen a lot and I've rewatched and that sort of thing. So what I thought I'd do is pick out my 5 most watched Blu-rays. And this isn't just movies, this is like physical Blu-ray editions that I have. What are the ones that I've picked out the shelf and put in the PS4 the most? There's recent Blu-rays that I have of films that I've seen a lot of times. I guess Step Brothers would be an example of one that I have in the collection that is always on TV. I never use the Blu-ray, it's always on, a movie channel, it's on Saturday night or something, The other one would be like the Alfred Hitchcock set that I have. There is multiple films in there. So although technically that is one I always reach for in the shelf, it's not the same film, it's not the same disc, so I didn't think it counted. Whereas the first one I want to show you is the Star Wars set. And I say show you as if you've never seen this before. And I guess this that rule about the Hitchcock set kind of applies to this as well. Whereas, there's multiple films in this set. However, for the longest time, I got this in 2011, I believe. 2011 or 2012, I think it was 2011 when it was released. I would pick this, particular box set out of the shelf and pick the sets and pick the films, from this set. So that is what I'm talking about, like films I've seen a lot that I've watched these actual editions. So the first one would be the Star Wars set, mainly for A New Hope and for Revenge of the Sith. And maybe for A Phantom Menace too, because there's been some times where I've been like, I'm going to watch all the Star Wars films 1 till 6. And then I've started with Phantom Menace and just never completed that whole marathon. And then we get to the new ones, and I've got them all individually, So I guess I could pick up Force Awakens because it's probably my favourite film, but it's one of those ones I've always found elsewhere, not necessarily picked up the Blu-ray itself. But the Star Wars set definitely belongs on this list and in this video just because of the amount of times I've reached for this particular box set on the shelf to watch the same films. The Hitchcock set is a little bit different because every time I've picked out, I've watched a different film. And there's 14 films in that Hitchcock set, I think, and I've still only seen about 8 of them, so there's still more to watch. I've had it for a couple of years, and that's really exciting to me, knowing that there's still more to watch, and I've really enjoyed some of the more obscure ones that I haven't really heard before, like Saboteur and Shadow of a Doubt and things like that. Those were films I really enjoyed, as well as Psycho and Rear Window and Vertigo and things like that. The Man Who Knew Too Much, that was one I really enjoyed and I just never heard of before. The Trouble with Harry, that was a really good one that I hadn't heard of before and really enjoyed, but I've not watched them more than once, So the criteria for this video, how many times have I picked out the shelf to watch it on that particular occasion? The next one would be The Dark Knight, and yes, I've watched The Dark Knight a lot. It's one of my favourite Batman films. At one point I said it was probably my favourite film ever made. Maybe not my favourite film, but maybe the best film ever made. Which I would probably disagree with now. I've not seen it in a while, and I think I might actually prefer, in fact I'm pretty certain I actually prefer the 1989 Michael Keaton Tim Burton Batman film to this, I think. I have Batman Begins coming in the post from Amazon, so I've not seen Batman Begins since it was released in 2006, I believe. So once I watch Batman Begins again, then I can kind of rate that, and I might do a sort of like a trilogy video or ranking all the Batman films in my collection if that's an idea that I could maybe stick with going forward. But in terms of the reason why this one is on this particular list in this video is because this was the first ever Blu-ray I ever got. Christmas 2008 maybe, Christmas 2009, one of those years. My auntie didn't really have any idea what to get me, which is weird because I was younger and it's pretty easy to buy for young guys, you know. Not young guys, I mean like, you know, when you want to play with toys and that sort of thing, you know. And she got me The Dark Knight on Blu-ray, and I was over the moon because I'd seen the film in the cinema and I loved it, but it just felt really special having a Blu-ray, not a DVD or a VHS, you know. So just because, you know, mathematically I've had this for the most years, this definitely counts because I've definitely reached for this more times than not. I don't think The Dark Knight ever pops up on TV that often. It's usually, you know, The Dark Knight Rises or even Batman vs Superman that comes on a lot more frequently. The Dark Knight I don't see on very much, so I'm looking forward to watching this again. Once I get Batman Begins in the post, I'll watch that, and then I'll watch the trilogy again and maybe I'll rank them. So Batman, The Dark Knight would be on this particular list. I think nowadays if you were to ask me what do I think is the best film ever made, I think I'd go with Jaws. And I think this would be the film that I have watched more than any film in my life. And it's amazing that this particular Blu-ray is in this video because Jaws is always on. Jaws is always on the movie channels, it's always on ITV4 on like a Sunday afternoon, and 9 times out of 10 I'm going to watch it. I'm going to just put it on regardless of what time it is and what mood I'm in and what part of the movie it's on. It is the ultimate film for those reasons. You know, sometimes you need to wait, you might watch a kind of serious film or whatever, and you might go, I better watch this from the start or whatever, you know. But in terms of Jaws, and I'm sure there's another one, Star Wars is another one, Indiana Jones, these big classics are films you can just put on at any time. But I think Jaws is one that I've done the most, done that particular thing the most in my life. And it's just amazing that I've done that on TV, but also have been in the mood to watch Jaws and to grab from the shelf and put it on. So Jaws is definitely up there. It's probably the film I've watched the most in my life. And I love this edition. It's so simple. There's nothing to it. It's just a slipcover, but I love the way the colours look. It looks kind of like a painting on that slipcover. I just love Jaws. My co-host on the Good Bit podcast, Aaron, always makes this joke that when I first met him, we first joined when we first went to drama school together. That's where we met, and he started the week after everybody else. And we were doing this activity and we were all sitting in the classroom and I didn't have a partner that day. I don't know if I was late or just no one wanted to work with me. And Aaron came in late and he sat down next to me because he was now my partner for the day, and that's how we became friends. And the first thing I started talking about was Jaws. He still brings it up to this day. Next film on this particular list in this video is No Country for Old Men, for no particular reason other than I just love the film. I love just being in the mood to watch a kind of thriller. This film changed my favourite genre of film. I would always say when I was younger my favourite was like comedy or action, but now, you know, the amount of times I've seen No Country for Old Men, I would always say that thriller is my favourite genre, not Michael Jackson's song. Favourite movie genre would be thriller, and the ultimate thriller, the ultimate thriller is No Country for Old Men. The Coen brothers just put together so many great films, but No Country for Old Men I think is my favourite Coen brothers film. A close second would be Fargo. But yeah, I don't know what it is about No Country. Maybe it's the characters. Maybe it's just a story that you kind of imagine and you dream about, and then you see it unfold in front of you. You just can't believe, and you just can't take your eyes away from the screen. It's an amazing film, and it's just, I've not watched it in a little while, but there was a period of time where I'd watch it a lot, especially when I was in drama school, because I loved Javier Bardem's performance, and I always go to this one. So that's why. That's no reason other than I just love the film. And last but not least, the fifth. This is no particular order, by the way. The fifth film on this list is my Rush Hour trilogy set that I got for my birthday, or maybe Christmas, a couple of years ago. I've talked about the Rush Hour films before, how I love them. They're probably my favourite trilogy of films. And some of the most underrated in my opinion, just for wall-to-wall fun. I think people can take films too seriously sometimes. I think Rush Hour is the perfect example of you don't need to take a film seriously or a trilogy seriously to fully enjoy it and just have a great time. All 3 films represent that. I just love this edition, and I have gone to these films in this set a lot, but also for the audio commentaries. I went through a phase where I watched the film one night and the audio commentary for the exact same film the very next night, and I would do that for all 3 films. So I would end up watching 6 days worth of Rush Hour material, which was great. So yeah, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, can't beat their relationship and their chemistry. And yeah, this is one I've definitely gone to a lot just to watch the special features, the audio commentaries, and one of my favourite and most underrated trilogies of all time. So there you go, there's a wee sort of movie video. I'm making any excuse I can to chat about some movies here on CM42 TV. 5 movies, or 5 Blu-rays in particular. These 5 individual releases that I have in my collection that I've watched the most in my life. Hopefully that'll change going forward, because not that I don't want to watch these films anymore, but because I hope that I fall in love with even more films in my collection, ones I've already seen that I can watch again and get a new appreciation for, but also ones that, you know, maybe I've got in there that I've not seen yet that I really want to go to. I've just got that Bond set, you know, I might be going to that for a long time. I want to finish the Hitchcock set and stuff like that. I want to go back to those old Hitchcock films and enjoy them again. So yeah, I love movies, I love collecting Blu-rays. I'm still a collector at heart. I got a new Blu-ray in today, and I'll be showing you that maybe at the end of the month or whatever. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please let me know what you thought in the comments. What is your most watched Blu-ray in your collection, or DVD, or whatever you collect yourself? Please leave it in the comments, I'd love to know. And you can tell me on Twitter and Instagram at CM42TV, and I'll see you all over there.